live from 12 Studios. This is News 12 at 10.
4 missing Oklahoma men and 4 bodies found yesterday afternoon. What police say about the investigation. And a beloved Harry Potter star has died, how he's being remembered. And the latest developments from the record seized from Trump's Mar-A-Lago home, what the Department of Justice just asked of an appeals court. Welcome to News 12 at 10. I'm Caroline Cluiss. Parts of Texoma have already seen some strong thunderstorms, and there are more on the way. Let's go straight to meteorologist Brady Blackstock, who says there's a slight risk for severe storms tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Caroline. We already got a little bit of a preview a little earlier this evening. Around 7 o'clock, this storm over near Ardmore came through and was issued a severe thunderstorm warning that quickly expired, but not before seeing about ping pong ball sized hail right around Sulphur, and even this one down in Wise County over Decatur saw about quarter sized hail. So the chance for some hail and strong winds is in the atmosphere, but that's not the main event. It's brewing right up here along I-40 west of Oklahoma City as a cold front is moving through Oklahoma right now, and it will move through Texoma later this evening, which is why the Storm Prediction Center overnight into early this morning in the dark hours, we have a slight risk in the far north and marginal risk for severe weather across most of Texoma. Right now, we have some thunderstorm watches in place in the pink areas in the northwest parts of Oklahoma, where we've already seen one severe storm, but here's why. As you can see, the cold front is going to come through, and this is going to be a big rainmaker, but I'm going to break it down a lot more clearly coming up later on in the show. Caroline?
Thank you, Brady. The fire departments of Love County have confirmed that someone died early yesterday morning in a fatal fire near Leon. FDLC says it happened in a home on Gold Road off of Baston Road just after 2 a.m. FDLC says 2 people got out of the house, but 1 person was unable to get out and passed away. The Love County Sheriff's Office says at least 1 pet was also killed in the fire. An official identification will come from the State Fire Marshal's office. Later on that same day, on Friday afternoon, around 27 acres burned down on Allen Road, FDLC says. According to a Facebook post, 6 departments responded to the scene and fought the fire for over 2 hours. The departments say a hay baler started the fire, and the windy weather helped it spread to fields and hay bales. All but 1 of the fire departments in Love County are staffed by volunteers, so if you want to help out, consider volunteering or keep an eye out for their fundraising events. An Asher woman flew into the hospital after a crash in Pontotoc County yesterday afternoon. The crash happened around noon on State Highway 3 West near Ada. Troopers say an SUV stopped to make a left turn on County Road 3522 when it was struck by a car from behind. The driver of the SUV, 73-year-old Darla Barnett, was flown to OU Medical Center in serious condition with external and internal injuries. The other driver, 61-year-old Sandra Johnson, and her passenger were not injured. And another car crash in Love County early Friday morning. According to a Facebook post from the Love County Fire Departments, it happened just east of Marietta on Highway 32. The accident shut down the highway for over an hour, and both drivers were taken to hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. The bodies of 4 Okmulgee men were reported missing Thursday night and may have been found in a river southwest of town. Okmulgee police say they received a call around 2 yesterday afternoon from someone saying they saw suspicious items in the Deep Fork River just southwest of Okmulgee. Officers say no one had seen or heard from Mark Chastain, his brother Billy, Alex Stevens, or Mike Sparks since Sunday night. They say based on phone records, Mark was spoken to around 5 Sunday evening. Benny Harjo, a family friend, says a family friend of 3 of the men says he was in utter disbelief.
I'm taking it hard because, like I said, I raised them. They're going to be missed. I'll put it that way. They will be missed.
The families of the 4 missing men have been told about the discovery, but police say they have not confirmed identification at this time. Officers are still investigating the incident. And tonight, a quiet southern community is mourning and looking for answers after a 15-year-old male went on a shooting rampage in Raleigh, North Carolina. Authorities have not disclosed a motive, but have confirmed 5 people are dead, including the alleged shooter's brother. CBS News correspondent Elise Preston has the latest.
911 calls released late Friday captured the horror when, according to police, a 15-year-old opened fire in a residential neighborhood in Raleigh, North Carolina.
What kind of clothing is he wearing?
He's wearing all camo. He looks like he's like 16.
Authorities say 5 people were killed, including the suspect's 16-year-old brother and an off-duty police officer who was on his way to work.
I heard some gunshots. So somebody walking that way with a big rifle-looking gun.
When he returned from running errands, Tracy Howard found his wife Nicole Connors fatally shot on their front porch.
I froze. I didn't know what to do. You know, could have tried to perform CPR or something, but I just froze. So I called 911.
A woman walking her dog and another out exercising were also killed in the Thursday evening attack. The Wake County District Attorney announced plans to pursue charging the teen suspect as an adult, but did not specify the charges he would face.
This would have been different if this young man, for whatever reason, did not have access to these weapons.
Vice President Kamala Harris tweeted about the tragedy, urging Congress to pass an assault weapons ban. Tonight, the community is remembering the victims of the gun violence that shocked a quiet neighborhood this week. Elise Preston, CBS News.
Robbie Coltrane, best known for his role as Hagrid in the Harry Potter films, has died on Friday at the age of 72. The larger-than-life Scottish actor's career spans more than 4 decades of TV and movie roles, from James Bond films to the British TV series Cracker. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling led the tributes on Twitter, calling him an incredible talent and saying she was fortunate to know and work with him. Coltrane leaves behind his sister Annie Ray, his 2 children Spencer and Alice. And the Justice Department has filed a motion requesting that an appeals court end the special master review of records seized by the FBI in the Mar-A-Lago raid. And it's setting up for another round of legal wrangling as the Department of Justice investigates former President Trump over classified documents found at his Florida estate. Here's Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff.
The government is arguing through this appeal that a district judge does not have the authority to effectively delay a federal investigation by appointing a special master. The Justice Department wants third-party attorney Raymond Dearie off the case. He was appointed by Judge Eileen Cannon exactly a month ago to sort through records seized from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate to determine if they fell under attorney-client or executive privilege. Both parties had agreed on Dearie as a candidate for the position, but the Department of Justice objected to the Trump team's push for a special master, saying it would stall the investigation. The department eventually earned a win when the 11th Circuit Court decided that Dearie could only review non-classified records, allowing the DOJ to continue working with documents marked classified. The department, though, wants to regain full control, filing a 67-page motion yesterday. In it, the government stated that a filter procedure was already in place to protect any materials that may have been subject to attorney-client privilege, adding, quote, "Neither plaintiff nor the district court demonstrated why the filter procedures here were insufficient." Continuing with this, quote, "The court should therefore reverse the district court's injunction and end the special master's review." Former President Trump maintains that none of the records in his possession were classified. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Researchers might have found a possible way to keep teens from vaping. We've got the details on that and more of this week's top health stories. And a Texoma couple is showing off their love for Halloween in a bone-chilling way. What they say about setting up their creepy Halloween decor. Just off of Highway 110 in Davis, there lives a skeleton crew with Nashville flair. The spooky display is a tradition for Julia and Les Tingley. Other setups include Poncho and Lefty and George Bones. A classic song by Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson inspired one of their first displays. The couple works on their decor from September up until Halloween.
We always use some type of a theme. We like anything Western, cowboys, music. So, and it's easy to incorporate Halloween, and we don't make it scary. But it's fun. We usually start the 1st of September, but we add to it. I like the saloon, so we stick with that because it's a Western theme. And then we've added the Gravedigger this year, which we call him the Ghost Rider. And then we added Gwen Buffoni.
British researchers say onsetting dementia could now be detected almost a full decade before normally being diagnosed. Cambridge researchers found signs of dementia based on when data was first collected, often 5 to 9 years before a diagnosis. The scientists say impairments indicating dementia are often subtle and include memory, reaction times, grip strength, weight loss, and a number of falls. Individuals likely to develop Alzheimer's were more likely to have fallen 12 months before a diagnosis. The findings may allow for earlier screenings to reduce risks. and a possible technique to keep teens away from vaping, and why hot flashes may be more than just an uncomfortable nuisance. Michael George has a look at this week's top health stories.
There's growing evidence that hot flashes aren't just uncomfortable, but stress the heart and could lead to a heart attack or stroke. New research presented at the annual meeting of the North American Menopause Society shows women with more frequent hot flashes are more likely to be at increased risk of cardiovascular disease, which is the leading cause of death in women. The CDC has expanded the use of bivalent COVID-19 booster shots for younger children. That after the FDA authorized use for Moderna boosters for children as young as 6, and for the Pfizer boosters, kids as young as 5. The boosters combine a component from the original vaccine with components that target the Omicron subvariants. And teenagers exposed to vaping prevention videos are less likely to vape or smoke cigarettes. A study of 1,500 teens found those who watched the FDA's Real Cost national ad campaign about the health dangers associated with nicotine addiction said they were less open to using the products than those who saw control videos. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, we got a little preview of what's to come. Take a look at this tower cam as you saw near Ardmore. There we go. There's some rain, and we got more of it on the way. Timeline coming up after the break.
You're watching News 12 Weekend Edition with Caroline Cluiss. Sports with Dylan Morgan. And from the Weather Authority, here's meteorologist Brady Blackstock. Texoma's most watched news.
Good evening, Texoma. I'm about to show you this time lapse twice in the same weather forecast because it's not every day our tower cam catches a storm going right in front of the camera lens. That's the little bit of rain that Ardmore saw, and that actually turned into a severe thunderstorm warning. And as you can see, according to SPC Outlook, more of that is expected as we go into the overnight. You see the slight risk right up in Pauls Valley and Ada, and right in Sulphur. That was where they saw some severe hail even. About ping pong ball sized hail, and you can see there are some thunderstorm watches still in place in the northwest Oklahoma counties, and you can even see beyond it. The pink area is covering most of where this cold front is about to move through. That's the big story. So let's take a look at max radar. You can see the little pop-up storms we saw right here in Ardmore down in Wise County, but this is not the rain that we have been promising. This is the rain up here forming right along the I-40 corridor. The cold front is slowly moving down, and it will move through Texoma. The storms you see here will be the storms that we see in Texoma a little later. But yeah, let's go back to that Ardmore one. I told you we caught that one that turned into a severe thunderstorm on our tower cam thanks to Hunter Supertex. One more time, let's rewind it, and there it is again. I don't know, I'm a weather nerd. I like seeing that stuff. But then as we went into sundown, they saw some more lightning strikes, but everybody's going to see some lightning strikes here pretty soon. Let's go over the Futurecast super high-res timing. 10:30 right after the show. It's clearing up. It's clearing up on max radar, and that's how we expected it. But as this cold front starts moving through, around 2:30 in the morning, it's going to start moving into these Texoma counties. And as we go, that's about 7 a.m. Sun's starting to come up, and you're not going to see it because it's going to be overcast skies, rainy, spotty pop-up showers moving through Texoma. And that's going to be going and carrying on until the front moves through around noon, heading into the afternoon. You can see some lingering green. It will be overcast skies on Sunday, maybe a little bit of drizzle following the cold front as there was a lot of moisture in the atmosphere before that moves through and brings with it a lot of dry air. And you can see the cloud cover going into Sunday evening into Monday. So how much rain are we talking here? This is the precipitation forecast. That 4 inches seems a little ambitious in Tishomingo if you're asking me. I'm thinking between 1 and 2 inches is what I'm expecting for the highest rain areas. Yeah, there will be some fringe areas that really don't get that much rain, but as it moves through, it's cutting through. Like Texoma is like the bullseye of where this cold front's moving through, which is great because here's the drought monitor, extreme, exceptional. I don't know if it's going to put a huge dent into it, but it will definitely help. But I haven't even talked about the temperatures today. Today was terrible. It was like 90 degrees outside. It was way too hot. But for October, not quite records. Mid-90s was the record, but you can see even at this hour, it is still far warmer than it should be. Some upper 70s, even a few lingering 80s. But after the cold front tomorrow, once the rain's said and done, look at this. How about 60s and low 70s for highs? And as we go into Monday, upper 60s. Now we're talking October fall temperatures. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. 90% chance of rain. This thing is happening. It is moving through all of Texoma. Just some fringe areas may not see some rain, but just about everybody's going to see rain. Well, maybe you won't. You might be asleep, as it will be in the overnight hours. But then as we head into Monday and the rest of the week, it will clear up, 60s and 70s. And take a look at this low as we go Tuesday into Wednesday, 39. Not going to dip down to freezing, but it is going to get chilly as we go from Tuesday into Wednesday and then warm back up to that 80 there, Caroline. But hey, as far as the 90s we saw today, I'm going to call it. Kissing them goodbye.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that. I hope you got it right. Coming up on News 12 at 10, planes without a pilot? Yeah, you heard that right, when you might be able to board one. There's a warning about a new scam on the popular dating app Tinder. The so-called pig butchery scam has the FBI and cybersecurity experts concerned. The scammers develop relationships, sometimes romantic, with their victims. Then they convince them to invest a lot of money into cryptocurrency. But instead of using an established cryptocurrency website, the scammer sends the victims fake websites that they own. A cybersecurity expert says it's not unusual for victims to lose more than $200,000 with this scam. And a report says purchases of personal computers are down. The Wall Street Journal says sales of computers worldwide have dropped 20%. They say that's the sharpest fall off in more than 20 years. Computer makers shipped nearly 70 million computers in the most recent quarter, down from nearly 85 million the previous year. Experts say despite the supply chain easing, there's high inventory and weak demand. Computer sales benefited from work from home options during the pandemic, but back-to-school sales were weaker despite promotions. And a San Francisco-based company is aiming to operate a fleet of modified self-driving cargo planes without any pilots on board. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble took a ride in one of these aircrafts, and he gives us all the details.
Here it is. It's a Cessna Grand Caravan. It looks like any other plane of its type, but if you look a little closer, you can see it's retrofitted with sensors and other technology that allow this plane to fly itself. We went up for a flight with X-Wing and saw it firsthand. The plane can taxi, take off, fly, and land with no help from the pilot. You can see the yoke or the controller in this video turning itself. While the plane is in the air, there's someone in what they call the Mission Control Center on the ground communicating with air traffic control and monitoring the flight. And right now, there's still a safety pilot in the cockpit. X-Wing hopes eventually, though, passengers will feel comfortable getting on a plane with no pilot at all. But the plan is to start with cargo flights from one small airport to another with a goal of flying without a pilot by 2025.
We can fly to remote areas, we can fly over non-densely populated areas, we can fly without passengers on board. Like packages don't really care if there's a pilot in the front or not.
We do think people will be getting into remotely supervised or operated aircraft by the end of this decade. Especially for regional routes on smaller aircraft. It's entirely doable.
A number of companies are working on autonomous planes like this one. The pilot shortage that's going on right now is only expected to get worse, so this type of technology could really revolutionize aviation and help solve that problem. In Concord, California, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Coming up in sports, the Lone Grove Lady Longhorns battle for a state title once again as they take on the #2 team in Class 4A in Oklahoma City.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's Dylan Morgan.
Well, after yet another great season, the Lone Grove Lady Longhorns softball team is back in the state title game as they head out to the final round of the OSSAA Class 4A state tournament in Oklahoma City to take on Tecumseh. Let's get out to the action now in this one. Lady Longhorns setting the tone defensively to start. Emma Wilson gets the strikeout, and of course fans are loving it. Moving on to the fourth, Lexi Meadows sends one right up the middle to get a runner on for the Lady Longhorns. Then in the same inning, Jessie Schumann says, "Let's bring her home," base hit, and Meadows dives in for the score, getting the Lady Longhorns on the board first, and it's Lone Grove who claims back-to-back OSSAA Class 4A state titles as they defeat Tecumseh today in Oklahoma City 3-0.
it's been a grind all year, and these kids have worked so hard, and just to be able to do it again and the way we did it is awesome. You know, they've been so awesome. I've only been here 2 years, and so I've got a great relationship with those kids, and I respect them so much, and they work so hard. It's hard to replace those kids, but I'm just so glad to see them go out as winners.
It's incredible. I still can't believe it. I mean, I have no words. I just don't. It feels great. My girls, they've been behind me this whole time, and I did my job for them, and they did it for me.
I think that even in the beginning when we were a little bit down, we fought so hard to get back here and did our best to get here to this point. It means so much. I worked so hard to get here with this team, and I'm just so glad we won this.
College football action now as Oklahoma hosts Kansas. First quarter handoff is given to Javante Barnes, who walks his way in for the score. Sooners on top by 7. Second quarter, game tied at 14. Sooners give it to Barnes again. He finds his way to the outside and into the way of the end zone. Oklahoma back on top by 7. Same quarter, Sooners on the ball again as Dylan Gabriel finds a wide open Theo Weiss for the touchdown. Oklahoma extends the lead to 14, and then Sooners with it again now as Gabriel gives it out to Eric Gray, and he will leave the entire Jayhawk defense in his dust as he makes his way in for the score. And after 3 straight losses, Oklahoma takes down Kansas 52-42 to get back in the win column. Let's come back over to this side of the Red River now as Texas hosts Iowa State. Second quarter, game tied at 7. Quinn Ewers drops back, fires one over the middle for Jordan Whittington, who hauls in the touchdown catch. Texas back on top by 7. Third quarter, Horns up 17-7. Hunter Deckers to Jalen Noel. He adds a huge run after the catch. That touchdown brings the Cyclones within 3. Fourth quarter now, Iowa State threatening again as Hunter Decker says, "I'll do it myself this time." Touchdown puts the Cyclones ahead 21-17. But here comes Texas. Ewers goes to his main man, Xavier Worthy, on the touchdown pass. And Texas holds on to win a close one at home, 24-21 over Iowa State. Now for the only ranked matchup today between Big 12 teams, TCU hosts OK State. Fourth quarter, TCU trailing by 14. Kendre Miller fights his way in for the touchdown. Horned Frogs trail by just 7 now. Later in the fourth, TCU threatening. Some trickery here as Duggan floats it out to Jared Wiley. He punches it in for the score. TCU ties the game, and we're headed to overtime. Horned Frogs with the ball. Duggan finds his man, Quentin Johnson, who hauls in the touchdown catch. That's TCU's first lead in this one. Cowboys trying to answer. Dominic Richardson dives his way in for the score. More free football to come. And then TCU gives it to their workhorse, Kendre Miller, who calls ball game. And TCU stuns OK State 43-40 in double overtime to stay perfect on the season. And that'll do it in sports. How about a final look at the weather?
Thanks for that, Dylan. And yeah, as we saw, there is currently, right now, the radar. This was the big storm. It's fading now, but we are going to see this thing come through very soon. So, Caroline, get ready for some rain.
Sounds good. Stay tuned.